Hey guys, welcome to another video here on the Aviation Pro channel. So last week you saw me try X-Plane 11 for the very first time, and in the meantime I've tweaked some stuff, I've installed some add-ons, you can check the description for that, and I thought it was a great idea to maybe make a flight with this sim for the first time. So far I've only just flown around and kind of experiment, but I've not made a full flight yet. So I've installed some stuff. I hope you will enjoy it. As you can see, I've now got the proper Zibo mod active and with the proper audio mod as well. So that should be all good to go. And I got X Europe installed and scenery for Vienna here, and then also for Innsbruck. So Vienna to Innsbruck using the Transavia 737, as you can see. So I'm looking forward to this. Now I first want to thank everyone who subscribed last week. Since last week's video, I realized that I reach a whole different and new audience with these videos, and I welcome you to this channel. This channel is mainly about making educative content about flight simulation, learning you how to fly in particular aircraft or on the VATSIM network, for example. And um, you know I will probably use both simulators. Prepared will by all means still be my main simulator, but I might, especially in the summer season, maybe with some general aviation flying, I might use X-Plane more. But in this video, I just want to try it out what the flight would feel like. A very short flight from Vienna to Innsbruck, and I think it will be very nice. So I'm going to go back into the cockpit and start it all up. And I've already configured some of the buttons right here, so I can easily switch views. It's kind of the same way I've configured it in Prepared with Chase Plane, so that all works well. So let's go ahead and start the airplane up. Now, of course, I won't be flying on VATSIM because I've not installed X-Squawk Box yet or anything, so I'm just going to fly offline and kind of get a feeling what it feels like to get an airline from A to B in this simulator. And of course, Innsbruck is a very interesting destination. So let's take a look. Let's get some battery power on. That works. Close the gap. Steady lights. Standby power is set. Okay, that seems to be working. And let's get the ground power on. I really like the sounds of Audi, the buses take over of the ground power. That kind of sounds realistic if you ever watched a 737 startup video. It's pretty nice. I'm just gonna go to the first officer view, kind of see if everything is correct up here. Trimmer on. This is all set. Okay. I'm gonna go back to my side of the overhead panel and just go from top to bottom and make sure the airplane starts up properly. So first I want to align the IRSs. There we go, put those on nav. And then I want to go to the flight management system. And I will be using kilograms. And I need to enter the IRS system, but before I do that I might want to load some fuel. Let's see how that works. So I've created a flight plan using PFPX, and as you can see we have here the payload section, the load planning, and we got a zero fuel weight of 56.447. Let's see if I can just enter that. I hope so. I've not tried this before, so let's see what happens. Okay, that doesn't work. I think I need to enter a payload instead, so it will be 13.5. There we go, that's better. Fuel, we got a release fuel of, as you can see, 5,193 kilograms. So I'm just going to enter 5,200 up here. Oh, it needs to be in tons apparently. Okay. Well, center of gravity I think will be okay. Alright, so now that the basic fuel and payload has been loaded, we can go, and I guess I have to save this. Config saved. I'll just go through the flight management system setup. So first the position initialization. I think I will just use the last position right here, although the last position is a little bit different, so I probably will be using this one instead. So the IRS should now be aligning, so I hope that will work. And in the meantime we can go ahead and enter our route. Yeah, there we go, the IRS has come alive, so that's nice. I'm using real world weather, by the way, in real world time, so I'm just gonna plan a departure from Vienna from runway 29er, and destination will be Innsbruck. Flight number will be Transavia 42 X-ray. I don't think I can change these numbers. Would be kind of handy if you want to remember your call sign, but that's okay. So the zero fuel weight, if I click on this, it should be correct, 54.9 tons. Almost. Takeoff weight 60.1. It's a little bit lighter than I planned, but that's okay. I assume that there's just a little bit of discrepancy between what BFBX gives me and this particular aircraft model. That's okay. Reserve fuel I planned for 2. Oops, that's cost index 30. Reserve fuel 2. Cruise altitude today will be, let me look on the flight plan, flight level 300s. Cruise wind at top of climb will be, I can probably just show you guys. So top of climb cruise wind, as you can see, 287,051. 287,051. Top of climb outside air temperature will be -52. There we go. Transition altitude here at Vienna. I'll have to look up at the chart for that. So as you can see on the chart, we are departing runway 29er. We're going to make a left turn, and then we fly the Info 3 Charlie departure, ending up at Info right here, and then Ospen. So I'm just going to go back to the flight management system, make sure everything is set here. The transition altitude was what we were looking for originally, and transition altitude is 10,000 feet here. So I did plan on reduced takeoff thrust. The outside air temperature right now is 7 degrees centigrade. Let's enter that in, and we expect a flaps 5 departure. The rated thrust 2, and then we have an assumed temperature of 40 degrees centigrade, and we select climb 2 as well. Alright, that looks good, just like it works in PMDG 737 so far. Most of it at least. Center of gravity, there we go. We got the V speeds, they're a little bit different, but I don't mind, I'll just pick those. 134, 135, 140, and trim will be 4.54. That's a little bit like this. Okay, so yeah, that looks good. Let's select the departure. Runway 29. Info 3 Charlie. Then we'll continue our route, and as you can see, our route is over here. I think I need to reselect the departure for some reason. It did not select it. Info 3 Charlie. Okay, routes. There we go. We end up at Ospen, then we direct to Abu. Since there are no high airways, I believe, in this airspace anymore, you can just use direct waypoints basically. So that gives for a very easy flight plan. And we end up at Nanit, and then we're gonna fly the approach into Innsbruck. So as you can see, we will be flying the Nanit 1 Alpha arrival, and the wind is kind of variable at this point, but even if there's a little bit of tailwind, I think for the purpose of testing the flying in this 737 in X-plane, the Zibo mod, I will just land at runway 08 at Innsbruck. Of course, that's the exciting approach. So I'm just gonna plan localizer 26 Romeo and via Rattenberg and then we should be good to go. So I'm gonna activate this and execute. See if I can enter route data. That doesn't work. See if we can see anything in the progress page at this stage. Alright, I need to execute that. Don't have any fuel calculations yet. Not sure why. Maybe that just doesn't work yet. I don't know. But we should have plenty of fuel by the time we arrive in Innsbruck. So, flight plan is looking good. I'm happy with it. And I'm now going to start with the rest of the airplane and get ready for pushback. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the overhead panel, make sure everything is set. The yaw damper is on. These switches on normal and on auto. I think I will start the APU. Nice sounds, by the way. You can definitely hear the sound of the fuel pumps very well. That works. Let's see. We can test the power sources here. See, we got ground power. Yeah, we got ground power. That's okay. This is all set. Utility switches are on. We'll just wait for the APU to start, and then we can transfer them on that bus. Equipment cooling normal. Emergency exit lights are armed. No smoking and seatbelts can go on. Probably don't need a wiper today. Window heats. Electrical and engine hydraulics are on. Okay. And if we get APU bleed, we can have some air in the cabin. There we go. Yeah, can definitely hear that. Cruise altitude will be 300, flight level 300. I hope you can see that properly, by the way. I'll just go to this view. Landing altitude, I'll just quickly check. Aerodrome elevation is about 1900 feet, so I'll just select that. And this is all looking good. Alright. Well, so far I'm very happy with this experience. It just behaves like BMDG would. Most of it. Some of the advanced features seem to be missing here in the flight management system, but that's perfectly fine. I'll just leave it like that. It works. The basic functions work, and that's very nice for a free add-on. So I'm definitely not going to complain about it. It's a whole lot better what you get by default and for free than what you would get in Prepared. As you know, if you get Prepared out of the box, there are really not that much advanced airliners in there, so you really need add-ons for that. Anyway, this is all looking good. Let's maybe just set up the flight management or the motor control panel. I'm just going to leave the VOR tuning for now. I'm going to set V2 as 140 today. 140. Initial heading will be, let's take a look, 1292. And I'll first climb to the transition altitude of 10,000 feet. Then I'll do the pre-flight checklist. Oxygen, well, I've not actually tested that. Maybe it works. See if there's anything there that I can click. No, that's okay. We assume that it's tested. Navigation and transfer display switches are normal and auto. Window heat is on. Personalization mode selector is auto. Flight instruments heading showing 201, altimeter showing 750 feet. I'll need to look at the weather here to make sure I got the right QNH, I think. So winds variable 3 knots, QNH 1009er. Okay, 1009er is set, showing 640 feet. Parking brake is set. And entry stock levers are cut off. Pre-flight checklist completed. Okay. So yeah, because I'm not flying on VATSIM, I'm just going to regard this as an you know, very quick flight. Let's see, I got the transponder set. I'm just going to prepare for startup, and I'm gonna use the better pushback plugin, plugin that I really like. So I'll just show you. Those X-Plane users out there probably already know about this, but I've always dreamed about something like this in Prepar3D or FS 2004 because it allows you to just customize your own pushback. And it happens a lot in the real world, you know. There might be suddenly reason to push back in another direction, or you have a push-pull procedure, you know. And if you have something like GSX, you know, it's very fixed. Of course, you have two pushback directions, but those are always fixed, or you have to edit it yourself and then somehow save that into a scenery file. This is much more hands-on way of pushing back. I really like this plugin. So just to have some fun, why don't we push back a little bit and then pull a little bit forward into the bay? Because especially at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, there are a lot of heavy aircraft that are push-pulled to get ready. So yeah, I kind of like doing that. So I will save this, accept plan.
On to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Okay, well that's fine. Then I'll just prepare the rest of the airplane and for startup. So I'll get all the fuel pumps on, at least these ones. I'll let the APU generator take over. Very nice sounds again. This is all set. We don't need engine NTIs after startup. The collision lights on. What else do we need? I think most of it is pretty much set. So I'm very happy. You can do the before start checklist. Flight deck door is closed and locked. Fuel, we got... let's take a look. I can zoom in with the scroll mount wheel, right? Yeah. We got 2590, 2600s. And the pumps are on. Passenger signs. Still have to get used a little bit to switching the views with the buttons, but passenger signs are on. Windows locked. MCP. We got V2 140, heading 292, altitude 10,000. Takeoff speeds V1 is, let me take a look, V1 134, rotate 135, V2 140. See your pre-flight is completed. Rudder and aileron trim free and at 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing is completed and the collision light is on. Before start checklist is completed. Well, I'm not going to do a full briefing because it's not a VATSIM flight again. So I'm just eager to just take off this airplane and find out what it's like. So let's call up the pushback truck.
On to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Okay, tow is driving up. Looking really good. So I've got no traffic enabled. And again, I'll just stress, I really like the lighting of this sim. It feels more realistic. The way the shaders, the lighting is combined. Yeah. You know, this daylight just feels more like daylight should be. So there's the pushback truck. And I already tried this pushback feature once, and what I really like is that you can actually see the cockpit being lifted up by the pushback truck. That's okay. Quite amazing.
All doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect. Set parking brake.
Well, parking brake is set. If you look carefully, you can see the cockpit being lifted up, or the nose of the aircraft. That's very nice indeed.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay, brakes released.
Starting pushback, and you may start the engines.
Alright, so we're clear to start engines. Let's do it. The before start checklist is completed. I'm gonna turn the packs off. Engine bleeds are on. And then we're gonna start number 2 first. Oh, other way around. And adding the fuel. Hopefully. Oh, I need to pull it. Yeah, going nice so far. As you can see, this freeware scene of Vienna looks pretty nice. Okay, engine number 2 has started up and stabilized. We'll start number 1. Can can definitely hear those engines roaring in my rear speakers. And adding fuel. Start the cutouts. Oh, this all works fine so far. And engine has stabilized. And as you can see, we're now being pulled by the pushback truck. Very nice feature. So of course I'm not sure if this happens in real life in Vienna, at Vienna airport, but it's just to test this feature a little bit, and I really like it. So okay, looking good. Gonna transfer the buses. There we go. Turn the pitot heats on. Engine NTI is not required. Turn the packs back on. Isolation valve auto. APU bleed off. Oh, yeah. Engine start switch is continuous. And we can turn the APU off. Put the auto brake to RTO. And I'm not sure if at this stage you would be able to check the flight controls in real life while you're still moving, but
operation complete. Please set parking brake.
Parking brakes are set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Alright, so while he's removing the pushback truck, we can check the flight controls. Ooh. Something is wrong with my calibration. As you can see, this is rather abnormal. Let's see if the other controls work normally. This is why we check flight controls, so that this doesn't happen. Not sure why this is happening. I need to recalibrate for some reason. Let me take a look. Oh, it says it's uncalibrated. That's weird. I calibrated it yesterday, but this works better, right? So, okay. Nice. So I'll just check the ailerons. The movement of the yoke is very smooth. I like that. Full up. I can check the rudder. That's what I also really like, is that you can move the rudder separately from the steering tiller. So I have my Logitech USB 3D joystick programmed as the steering tiller right here. But I can also move my rudder separately, so that's really nice. I don't think that's possible in Prepar3D. So, okay, well, we seem to be ready. We can set the flaps at 5. One thing that's interesting about the flaps is that it works as some sort of smooth axis, so I cannot really set a definite flap setting. I just kind of have to guess when it's at flaps 5. So right now it's kind of at flaps 5. Basically this allows me to set any degree of flap setting between 0 and 40. So I've not found a setting yet to have flap detents, but anyway. Okay. Well, I think we're pretty much good to go. This will be set. I'm gonna do the before taxi checklist. Generators are on. Probe heats are on. NTI is not required. The isolation valve is auto. Engine start switch is continuous. Recall is checked. Auto brake RTO. Flaps are 5 green lights. Engine start levers, idle detents, flight controls are checked, and the ground equipment is clear. Before taxi checklist completed. Alright guys, let's go. Taxi lights are on. There we go. Let's find out. Turn this display off. Brakes are released. Off we go. So far the experience has been good. And the frame rate is pretty good as well. Unlike in the first video of last week, I don't have any screen tearing. Probably just because I adjusted some GPU settings. So that will be okay. So I can already feel there's a little, it'll go up and down a little bit, you know. Because the taxiways are curved as well. And that's definitely very nice. In Prepar3D everything is flat. Okay, so I'm gonna arm the auto throttle. Just gonna do the before takeoff checklist. Flaps 5 green light, stabilizer trim 4.5 units. Before takeoff checklist is completed. And I'll just arm LNAV and just do a regular departure as I always do in Prepared with the BMDG 737. To be honest, if BMDG would port any of their airplanes to this sim with the same modeling, you know, with the flight dynamic modeling and the way it behaves on the ground, I think you could have a very good experience. I like that sound of the gear turning. You can also hear that in real world cockpit videos, so that's kind of nice. And TRA. And just for fun I will turn on the terrain display as well. Alright guys, there we go. Departure out of Vienna in Explain. First flight. LNAV is armed. I should have programmed the toga button properly, so I'm gonna advance to 40%. Alright, engine stable and take off. Thrust is set. 80 knots. Getting some call outs already. V1, rotate. Gear up. Don't sink. I think climbing. LNAV is engaged. Dynamics definitely feel a little bit different, but so far takeoff has worked properly. And one. Wow. There we go. Departure out of Vienna. Looking pretty good. So the yoke does seem to be a little bit more realistic than what you feel in Prepared in combination with PMDG. There's some more additional settings that I found about, like it also kind of simulate the force that you have to put in, as we did the real aircraft. And I flew the 737 simulator a couple of weeks ago, and somehow it tends to be a little bit more realistic, at least from what I remember from the simulator. It's the way the yoke inputs translate to, you know, attitude changes. So we have climb speed. I'm going to accelerate to flaps up speed. Oh. 205 knots. Put the gear to off. Landing lights, yeah, I always forget them, don't I? Turn them off. Turn right a little bit. There we go. And then we can start accelerating. So I'm just using the real world weather feature of X-Plane itself. So no payware add-ons yet, flaps 1. I kind of have to guess where flaps 1 stops, although we can go to flaps up immediately. Flaps up, and I'll select VNAV. So the one thing I really surprised me about X-Plane that I don't really like is that it doesn't have seasons. In my last video when I made that one, I didn't realize that yet. I just figured maybe the textures of March and the summer were kind of the same, but apparently there are no seasons, and that's a pity. That's a real pity. I kind of like the, you know, the variation in the textures as you go from season to season. So Anyway, that's something they probably will include in a later version or through some kind of add-on. I already saw an add-on, Terrain Max Pro, whatever it's called, so I'm sure there are solutions to that. So as you can see, we have a pretty good departure so far. Landing light should still be on, but anyway, I do the after takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds are on, bags auto, landing gear up enough, flaps up, no lights, altimeters standards. There we go. After takeoff checklist is completed. So I'll just fly manually for the most part until we reach RVSM airspace technically, but I'm very much looking forward to the approach into Innsbruck. I really wonder what that will be like. Like, I've got a good comparison with the 737 simulator, what that feels like. Well, I think I'm gonna turn on autopilot. There we go. See if I can check the progress page in the meantime. Oh, it has. Now I see what's wrong. There's something wrong here with the destination. It thinks that I have to fly many miles. There's something incorrect here. That's gotta be it. Let's see how we can fix that. That should work better. There we go. Now we have actually an arrival time, 11:18 Zulu, which, as you can see, is pretty short. We don't have fuel calculations yet though, but that's already a whole lot better. So apparently there was a little bit of a mishap in the data, and that's why it did not show an arrival time, and where there was just such a huge distance of 6,000 nautical miles in there. So there we go. We're almost at cruise altitude. Very nice view over the mountains there, gotta say. It just blends in together so much better than in Prepar3D. Let's take a look what the first officer would see. There you go. I mean, this is not even the Ortho 4XP, you know, the photoreal stuff. This is just default textures. But the way the light blends with the scenery, it's just, I gotta be honest, a lot better than Prepar3D, even with add-ons in Prepar3D. You know, this is kind of what an approach into Innsbruck should feel like, you know? I think X-Plane captures that a lot better. I've got here the approach into Innsbruck. And of course we'll be flying the Star first of all. So we direct to Nanit, then to Rattenberg, and from there on we're going to start the approach. And we're going to fly the localizer to 6 Romeo, and then eventually we'll end up with the visual approach procedure. Let me see if we get the right chart in front of me. The way this works, just to review the chart a little bit, we'll start at Rattenberg, and then we're gonna turn left heading 210 to intercept the localizer Oscar Echo Victor. And then we're gonna descend on that localizer approach, and at some point we're gonna continue visually. So I'm just going to tune in the localizer here, Oscar Echo Victor 110.10. It's a lot of bright daylight now coming in. 110.10. And we're going to fly that inbounds 255, as you can see. So I'm going to set the course to 255. There we go. And for the visual part, I'm not gonna program everything in, because that's not really necessary for such a test flight. So at 4.2 DME of Oscar Echo Victor, we're gonna turn left heading 230 at 3,700 feet, and then we're gonna fly this little portion of the approach. Heading 264, then at 3.5 DME we're gonna turn right and descend, so we line up for the final portion of the approach to runway 08, and that should be an exciting landing. So yeah, really looking forward to this. Let's see what happens. I'm just gonna fly the approach like usual. and just enjoy the scenery and the flight dynamics of the 737 here in X-Plane. So far it's going well. So again, for Innsbruck I don't have any custom scenery either, it's just the default scenery that comes with X-Plane. I noticed this is a demo area, so I suppose it has some more features than normal. But from what I already saw, it looks pretty nice. So yeah, I think we'll have some pretty nice views as we fly into Innsbruck today. So since we're coming up for descent, I'll just check the descent checklist. Pressurization landing altitude set 1900 feet. Recall is checked. Auto brake, we'll select auto brake 3. Got to turn that off. There we go. Auto brake 3. Landing data VREF. Let me see. VREF, we got flaps 40, 133. Standard speed correction will have a final approach speed of 138. And the approach briefing is complete, and the descent checklist is complete. There we go. We're just gonna follow the profile. And I hope the visibility is good enough to actually see something. Otherwise we cannot execute the visual approach. Well, the wind is variable at 3 knots. Few clouds at 4000, temperature 8, dew point -2, QNH 1009er, no significant change. So pretty nice conditions for landing at Innsbruck. Look at that view. Well, there's definitely not a lot of snow on the Alps for this time of the season. That's kind of what I mean with, you know, in Europe it can snow quite bad, and especially the Alps would definitely have snow on them right now. But you know, just even, you know, when disregarding that, you know, the view is very nice. You can really see the mountain structure very well, and also, you know, it just renders seamlessly. There's no popping or anything. Yeah, so far it's very nice. So as you can see, the valley of Innsbruck is approaching, and this right here, very good. I mean, if it was summer now, this would, you know, be perfect, and especially if you would have photoreal stuff already enabled, but with Ortho 4X X-Plane. But I'm already happy with it this way, to be honest. What I do notice is that the cockpit textures tend to flash a little bit sometimes. Like sometimes they become a little bit more bright suddenly, and yeah, not sure what that is. There we go, left turn. Very nice. So this approach is always nice. Okay, I'm not receiving a DME yet. I kind of need that by now. Not sure why that's happening. Or actually, I don't have the right frequency in there. Now it should work. All square Echo Victor, as you can see on the BFD, it's now live. So I'm gonna view our localizer. There we go. Just follow the localizer. And we'll closely monitor the descent. And I'll probably need some speed brakes to get down properly. Let's see how it does on capturing localizer here. I think I lost the signal. What's that?
2500.
At least I don't see the distance anymore. And that's kind of sad, because I need that. But anyway, I'll start the descent. And local QNH. There we go. So I think we're a bit high on profile now, right now. I'm not sure what my distance is, so I'm gonna increase the rate of descent here. And select flaps 5. And who knows, I need to put the gear down as well already. Next point is 5,500 or above, so I need to descend quite a bit. Let's put the gear down to create some extra drag. No, I don't seem to be able to receive any of the localizer DMEs anymore. So I'm not sure why that is. Just gonna put the flaps to 10. And I think I'll just take over manually and fly the rest of the approach as soon as I break through this cloud here. There we go, that's better. Alright, I'm just gonna switch off the automation and fly visually. Autopilot, auto throttle disconnected. So I'll descend to 3,700 feet and I'm just gonna rely on the visual cues right now. Since I don't have a DME indication, I can't really tell when to turn left, but I'll just aim for it. Okay, I'm gonna reduce the speed to 160, flaps 15.
2,500.
And I'm gonna turn the flight directors off. Don't really need them at this stage. Okay, I think we ended up pretty well. You can kind of guess where 4.2 DME would be. So I'm gonna turn left very shortly. Maintaining 3,700. Let's go. Yeah, the view looks really good, especially for default scenery. Wow. First heading 230. 230. There we go. Going up the speed a little bit. There we go. So, maintaining heading off 230. It's kind of important right now. And we'll be flying pretty close to the ridge here on the mountain. Yeah, probably get some warnings. So, I'm gonna turn right, heading 264. I'm gonna reduce the final approach speed 138. And the flaps 40. In the meantime, my first officer is saying all kinds of things. Anyways, there we go. 138. Flaps are set at 40. And let's do the landing checklist. The engine set switches are continuous. Speed brakes are armed. There we go. Let's take a look. Landing gear down. Flaps 40 green lights. Landing checklist is completed. Alright, so the GPWS system is definitely a little bit sensitive. But that's okay. Of course there are options to disable that, but I don't have time for that right now. Maybe if I put this switch there. But I'm just gonna focus on the landing. So I think I see the church up here. I'm not sure if that's the one that I need. Still maintaining 3,700. Yeah, it's kind of guesswork when to turn right now without the DME. Oh, the DME indication just came back. So 0.1 mile to go. And I'm gonna start the right turn. Just 30 degrees and descend at 500 feet per minute. Until we see the runway. Yeah, the flight dynamics are definitely very good, I have to say. It feels like a true 737. At least from my few hours of simulator experience, so. we go. See if you can see the runway. I think we're ending up pretty well. There we go. Very sharp turn. So I need to lose some altitude here. There we go. I'm ignoring all the warning messages now. I'm just gonna land the airplane. But look at this view of Innsbruck. It almost looks as good as Orbeck scenery. Well. But I definitely like the feel of the 737 right now. It feels very good. Alright, this GPWS system is really annoying me. We're still a bit high. Alright, that was a pretty hard touchdown. Auto brakes are already disarmed. Okay, gonna select reversers. Oh, not sure what happened there. Somehow the brakes are very sensitive. But the passengers clapped. They're happy with it. I'm not sure what happened there. Because the auto brakes were disarmed. Somehow it was decelerating very, very rapidly. On previous landings that didn't happen before. So I'm not sure what that is, but flying the approach itself felt very nice, I have to say. It almost looked like the parking brake was set or something, but it wasn't, so I'm not really sure what's going on here with the brake sensitivity or something. Just decelerating very rapidly. I'm not sure even the 737 in real life would be able to do that. But anyway, we landed, the passengers are happy, and I myself am happy with the approach, with the way it felt for a first flight into Innsbruck like this. It just felt very nice, very comfortable, and kind of it felt the same way like it felt in the simulator a few weeks ago. So yeah, of course the question remains whether it's realistic in terms of a real 737, but yeah, I'm very happy with this right now. So let's just park right here. I think that will be nice. So a little bit of guesswork. I think this will be alright. Parking brake set. Yep, it is. A view is almost available. And engines cut off. So, there you go. That's the first flight in X-Plane with the Zibo 737. I'm sorry if I forgot stuff or did not configure everything the same way as I would do it normally in Prepared with the BMDG 737. But for a first flight, I'm mainly gonna take a look at how the aircraft feels and how the systems behave and how the flight dynamics are. And I was very happy with the flight dynamics. It felt very realistic somehow. Of course the systems needs a little bit of tweaking, but this is a free mod. For a free mod, this is definitely a very nice experience. So if you're looking into simulation and simulation on a budget, I would say go for this simulator because it just provides a very good simulator out of the box, which is great for general aviation flying. And then free add-ons like this, as you can see, you know, although maybe the the very nitty-picky stuff, the very small details are not simulated, on a basic level, this 737 is very well simulated, I think. So I would definitely check that out if I was you. So yeah, thanks for watching this first flight of me of Explain 11 from Vienna to Innsbruck. I hope you enjoyed it, despite the very rough and hard braking landing. But anyways, I certainly did enjoy it, and I will probably feature Explain 11 more. I will probably in the upcoming weeks kind of experiment more, make sure everything is configured properly, and install some scenery, maybe even payware aircraft, who knows. The one aircraft that I'm thinking about adding now is the IXEG 737 Classic. That would be a very nice airplane to fly. Yeah, that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you check out my other video of Explain, as I try Explain 11 for the very first time. I'm sure you will enjoy watching that if you're into Explain already. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos on this channel. If you'd like to support the Aviation Pro channel, make sure you check out my Patreon page over at patreon.com/aviationpro. And I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.